Ready? Play.
Paolini versus Gauff.
2-1 in favor of Coco. They just played, actually. I don't know why I'm not really remembering this match, but in Stuttgart, where Paolini won 4-3. And then they played in 2023 in Cincinnati, where Gauff beat Paolini in straights. And then it was Adelaide in 2021, where Coco beat Paolini in 3. I don't know. I'm not really remembering that Stuttgart match well.
I think Stuttgart was kind of just a blur until the final, to be honest, where apart from Ostapenko, who was just crushing it that week after she beat Iga again, and then what beat Sabalenka as well, was just a great week for her.
Got it. Well, look, I guess it's a great week to talk about Italian tennis, having Italians in both the men's and women's final in Rome. How fitting. Can they get it done? I'm not so sure. I think Paolini's run has been great, but I feel like it's been defined by a series of, comebacks where she's hanging on by a thread and kind of getting you at the right time. And then it's just kind of a long road back once you start making every ball and, gets a little bit more out of her serve and gets the crowd behind her. I feel like that's kind of been the story of the week. But I don't know. For me, Coco has continued to impress and, getting out of trouble. And, I feel like even in the Andreeva match, having that mental edge, and it's just feels like, it's Andreeva who has to, take the chances or, play maybe a little bit more out of her comfort zone. And Coco's just locked in, making, limiting her errors and, capitalizing in the tight moments. So I feel like she's earned her way to get here maybe a little bit more than Paolini has.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of that Andreeva Sabalenka Gauff cluster, definitely that was something that, the winner of that was always going to be the favorite in the final. She beat both of these. Oh, she actually didn't beat Sabalenka, sorry. I mean, she beat Zheng and Andreeva, which, Zheng also belonged in that cluster a little bit. Although less so, I guess, than the other players. But yeah, I mean, she just woke up sort of during the Madrid-Rome double. It would be amazing for her to just finish it off with the title. I do think she kind of deserves it, but it's always very tough to know what to do with Paolini. Like, there are so many matches where it seems like, it's not like she can't win, but basically the opponent, if they play well, they should be able to get this done. And then, Diana Schneider's second set happens, and Jasmine just kind of has so much grit, and especially with the home crowd as well. I don't know how she reacts to playing in like a big final at home. There's gonna be like the president of Italy, I think, is gonna show up. So it's like all sorts of added extra pressure. I think it would make more sense, kind of like tennis wise, if Coco Gauff ended up claiming this title, but it's very tough with Paolini always.
What happens if the Pope's in attendance?
Well, Mario's come home, hasn't he? So we'll never know, I guess.
I mean, he's American. All right. Anyway, Fergus, your thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be. Gauff is my favorite here. Combination of stuff with Paolini, home pressure in a big final. She made 2 slam finals last year and lost them both, unfortunately. But and I feel as though if Gauff's serve is firing, then I feel like Gauff can get this done in straights. But with the Zheng match, I mean, it was a long one, and the serve was definitely not firing. So Paolini's going to get a lot more looks at second serves, and with the way that Coco's second serve's been going this year, it's been very up and down. So we'll have to see. But I do believe that this was probably Coco's to kind of take, but we'll see what happens in a sense. I think that with the way that Coco's played this week, she's kind of found a way to win even when she's not playing her best, which is kind of what like Sabalenka's been doing for the last couple of weeks, even though she's been playing great. But when she doesn't play great, she kind of comes through. But yeah, I'm gonna say Gauff with a mixture of home pressure and servability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything more to say, to be honest. There's a bit of a quality gap. There's that Madrid Rome, double where Coco has just been kind of fantastic since losing an opening set to Diana Yastremska, the bagel. She looks like she might be a threat at Roland Garros. Obviously, the last 3 years she's only losing to Iga, who is not exactly in the prime of her career at the moment. So yeah, as long as there's not like any big hiccups on the way for her, which as Dave is suggesting in the chat, with the serve, that's kind of where usually the hiccups lie, even more so than with the forehand recently. She's probably the one who's gonna take it, but it's not an easy matchup also because there's like so much that can happen in every rally. There's no like easy patterns for anyone really, so it's definitely gonna be a fight of sorts.
It could get pretty physical as well. And if Paolini can make it as physical as possible, I do expect her to have a bigger chance, especially with how much tennis Coco's played in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it could get pretty physical, and then Paolini's definitely a lot more in the game. But if Coco can shorten the points as much as possible and shorten her service games as much as possible, then I think Paolini. I think Coco comes through.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my last thing to add is even if it's not short balls, it's like Paolini trying to extend the rally, which she's like pretty much relied on in her last few matches, in terms of just like playing to Schneider's backhand or, Stearns just like totally mentally gone. I feel like if Coco just like doesn't play into that, narrative and doesn't break down mentally, physically, like there's really not much that Paolini can do besides, I guess, like hitting out of her shoes. And that, she can do, but it just takes a lot of, I guess, rhythm and confidence to do that. And what feels like another just like huge match for her. I don't know if she's going to be able to bring her A game.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.